Welcome to a world of strange stories and eerie mysteries. If you're into the weird and unknown, make sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what kind of creepy tales you're most curious about. Stick around, more spooky adventures are coming your way. If you're reading this, it's already too late. I know you'll judge me. Call me a coward for what I've done when you find my lifeless body lying in a pool of blood. But soon you'll understand. My body won't give you the answers you seek. This letter will. It started a month ago, the night I first found her. She was powerless then, just a figment of my imagination, a character for my novella. Before I tell you more, I have to warn you, don't let curiosity get the better of you. You shouldn't want to know her. I named her Mara. I wanted to create a tale of triumph rising from tragedy. And so I began with tragedy. She grew up in a small, nameless village, her life ordinary and uneventful until that day. When she was just 8 years old, she came home from school to find the front door ajar. Her parents had fought before, but this time the silence inside was suffocating. She stepped in and saw her mother lying on the floor, unmoving, a dark crimson pool spreading around her. Her father stood frozen, a bloodied vase still clutched in his hand. For a moment, time stopped. There was no sound, just the faint ringing in Mara's ears as she stared in disbelief. Then the silence broke, shattered by her scream. I know how it sounded because I heard it. That night, it was piercing, raw, and filled with so much pain it made my chest tighten. I thought I was imagining it. A writer too caught up in his own story, I told myself, and I continued to write. Her father had called it an accident. He forced Mara to lie, and when she refused, he beat her. I wrote about her sobs, the way her small body shook under his blows. That night I heard her cry, soft, muffled sobs that came from nowhere and everywhere. It wouldn't stop. By the second sleepless night, I wanted to quit. The story was taking a toll on me, but I couldn't. Something kept pulling me back, like I wasn't in control anymore. So I kept writing. At 14, Mara ran away. She couldn't take it anymore. Her father's rage, his fists, his lies. She spent her first winter on the streets, alone. I wrote about her suffering, the way the cold gnawed at her bones, the hunger twisting her stomach, her hollow, desperate eyes. That night, I felt the cold seep through my skin, even though my heater was on. I felt the ache of hunger, even though I'd eaten. I heard her breath so faint but unmistakably there. It was like she wanted me to feel her pain. The more I wrote, the louder she became. Her story bled into my reality, and I started to believe it wasn't just a story anymore. I thought about deleting everything, ending it right there, but I couldn't. A part of me liked it. It made me feel alive. It challenged me. I wanted to push her further, to see how much more she could endure, how much more I could endure. So I kept going. I wrote about the men who found her on the street. They dragged her into the trunk of their car, driving her to a secluded cabin. I wrote how their nails scratched her skin, their cruelty tearing her apart. That night I woke up screaming. I felt nails clawing at my flesh, invisible hands pinning me down. I couldn't fight back. When it was over, I looked at my arms and saw the scratches, deep red welts that hadn't been there before. This wasn't just my imagination anymore. I could see the marks real, physical, undeniable. I had to stop. But then, she whispered, she told me I couldn't stop, that it wasn't my story, it was hers. I wasn't creating it, I was uncovering it. And the more I unraveled, the stronger she became. She made me write this letter. She said you need to know her story, that with every person who learns about her, she grows stronger, more real. Maybe she's done toying with me. Why else would she make me write how it ends? A swift slash of her wrist, a crimson pool surrounding her just like her mother's. I know what's going to happen to me tonight. If you're reading this, it's probably already too late for you too.